Why is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic church, don't you? Or you've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure.
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
Somewhat.
Okay, you're
Their
familiar.
doctrines are very
How do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and I mean
either you're a Christian or you're not.
I won't talk to you if you're a smartass.
Oh, either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell you.
You don't have to tell me. I was under the impression I was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing, right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Jordan Peterson made a splashy appearance on the Jubilee show, and boy, do we have a couple of clips. It did not go well. Basically, nobody thinks it went well for Jordan Peterson. That includes corners of the right that typically defend Jordan Peterson, who is controversial on the right. We'll get into all of that because this confirms a lot of the criticisms of Jordan Peterson. This was a debate that was originally billed as one Christian versus 20 atheists. And that was the title of the Jubilee video. We are going to get into why that's controversial and why that became controversial. Before we do, take a look at this first clip, D1.
So do you believe in the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good notion of God?
What do you mean by believe?
Do you think it to be true?
That's the circular definition. What do you mean when you say you believe?
How is that circular?
Because you added no content to the answer by substituting the word true and believe.
I said you think it to be true.
All right. So if you believe something, you stake your life on it.
What do you mean by that?
You live for it and you die for it. That's what I mean by that. It isn't something that you say. It isn't something that's associated with logical consistency. It's not declarative. It's not propositional. It's not a figment of your imagination. It's the presupposition of your attention and your action. And you're either fragmented, in which case you worship multiple gods, or there's some unity at the bottom of it that makes you an unstoppable force.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't believe something if you wouldn't die for it?
Not really, no.
Okay. So then,
how would you define belief? Something you say?
Well, can I explain? Like, I could believe it is the case that this pen exists, but if someone like threatened my life, right, I would lie in order to be able to save my life, right? Like, I think you would do that too. You wouldn't lie to save your life?
Don't be so sure.
You wouldn't lie to save your life?
How much do you know about me? I didn't lie to save my career. I didn't lie to save my clinical practice.
Would you lie to like save your children, your mom, your dad?
I don't think lying would save them.
No, can there ever be a circumstance logically that lying could save someone?
Yeah, and if you're steeped in sin, you're likely to live in circumstances like that.
I'll give you an example. If you're like in like Nazi Germany, and it is the case that there's like Jewish people in your attic and you're trying to protect them, would you lie to like the Nazis?
I would have done everything I bloody well could, so I wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. It's a hypothetical, and it's not answerable.
Hypotheticals?
No, I can't answer a hypothetical like that because it's far. Look, don't play games.
I'm not playing games.
Yes, you are. If you present me with an intractable moral choice that's stripped of context and you back me into a corner, you're playing game. I just told you I would do everything that I could to make sure that I'm never in that situation. By the time you've got there, you've made so many mistakes that there's nothing you can do that isn't a sin.
Being born and not.
Wisdom of this world, pseudo-intellectuals exposed. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rachad Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 in the hope of election, the one Barakatham. And Lord's will, I got a clip in there to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But the Lord is confounding a lot of these so-called intellectuals that have been, boasting in their knowledge and their ability to philosophize or, theorize about things. And really it's just the open, mockery and a scoffing of the creation of the Heavenly Father. When that's written in Job, can you weigh a flame? Those series of questions that are asked. Can you measure out the curtains that are stretched out, the heavens that are stretched out as a curtain? Can you measure them? Those are all rhetorical questions. basically meant to let you know that your understanding of what creation is, it's always going to be finite, and you're never going to know as much as the Most High. That's why that's written, you know. But Esau will come in and say, yeah, I can weigh a flame, you know. Yeah, I can tell you how the dark matter and all of this moves in the universe. Yeah, I know what God is, you know, or God doesn't exist. And they'll make these big claims, and they'll talk and make all kind of fancy words and big words to throw you off. But at the end of the day, these people are serpents, man. You know, like Jordan Peterson, this guy got exposed because he really doesn't believe in the scriptures. And you got to watch charlatans, okay? There's a lot of Jakes are into this guy, Jordan Peterson, because, you know, he dunks on, he's been known to dunk on women or feminists or whatever. You know, he said some good things in the past, but ultimately, you know, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have the real motion, okay? These people are not as smart as they portray themselves to be. What they do is practice a lot, you know, like a true psychopath, you know, getting into a role. You know, there's people that are actors that play smart people in movies. They had to learn all of those terms. You know, they had to learn all of the jargon and the lingo and how these things work together, you know. And that's what a lot of these people are actors, man. And that's what you're going to find out, because the Lord said the wisdom of this world is going to be made foolish, okay? That's a promise. You know, the scriptures ask, where is the wise, O Teman? You know, Teman represents the wise of Esau. All right? And what you're finding out is that these people really don't have it, okay? What they got, the things that they were able to accomplish, you know, airplanes, flight, you know, nuclear physics, electricity, all of these things were gifts to Esau. Knowledge and wisdom comes from the Most High, either through the right hand or the left hand, okay? But it comes from up top. That's where it comes from, okay? If you know something, it's because the Most High wanted you to know it. That's why He's able to advance this far, because it's for the destruction of this place, all right? And when you see Jordan Peterson, who's been hiding behind the scriptures for years now, okay? This guy is really an atheist that doesn't want to say it, okay? You can see it in this video. He's really an atheist that doesn't want to say it. And when he gets questioned on whether or not he believes in God, he just, I don't have to answer that. Well, why are you here? Okay, he shows up to a debate. It's one Christian versus 20 atheists. You know, that's the name of the debate. That's the prompt for the debate. And then he gets in there and he's like, well, I never said I believed in God or the Christian, or I don't want to confirm. And then you know what they had to do on that video, on the Jubilee video? They had to change the title to Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists instead of a Christian versus 20 atheists. You see? Because this guy, he's a paid off agent, man. He works for the small hats. He's soft. You know, he's crying all the time talking about manhood. He got up there and wrote a book called 12 Rules for Life. All right, which it gets high praises. I never read it, but it gets high praises, and it's a bestseller. He made a lot of money off of that book. But what was it basically? That book. It was common damn sense. He was saying things like clean your room, you know, things of that nature. You know, clean your room and take care of your house first. All just basic common knowledge. But why was it so popular? It's because it's playing off of the fact that these young men don't have a father. So of course common sense is going to sound profound and intellectual, okay, when we didn't have order and guidance, you know, about things. See, wisdom in our culture, wisdom was passed down orally, man. Okay, we wrote things down a lot, you know, especially the scriptures, but a lot of the traditions, they were taught, you know, father to son, you know, uncle to nephew, you know. You learn things through the elders and your leadership and your father, man, you know. And when you take the father away, people you become a prey, basically. Okay, you're leaving it up to what, women? You know, women have no intention of taking responsibility if you grow up to be flunk out of school, or you become a high school dropout or go to jail, they'll just say it's because your father wasn't there. It ain't because they wasn't good enough, you know. But if you do something good, they'll pat themselves on the back. You know, I did it all by myself, you know. Anyway, but this guy Jordan Peterson preyed on that, man. It's another form of disaster capitalism, okay? You destroy and get all of the fathers out of the home, all right? And then all of a sudden, people like Jordan Peterson become super popular because they can just say basic things and you go, oh, it's profound. You know, Andrew Tate will get popular. You know, Kevin Samuels, those kind of figures, they'll get popular because what should be common knowledge and wisdom is just void in this place, man. You don't even realize that you're starved for it. When I came into the truth, man, it's like drinking from a fire hose. Okay, you're like, goodness gracious, man. Everything is just so dry and gray. You know, ain't no life in nothing. Nobody wants to answer things. You know, and the way my mind works is, you know, my mind starts nibbling on a problem. You know, it's gonna stay at it until the answers are solved. And that's one of the reasons it took me so long to come into the truth or make the attempt to cross over, because, you know, I'm constantly just thinking, okay, is that true? Is that, you know, you verifying thing, man, you know, like the scriptures encourage you to do, like the Church of Berea, okay? But the point is that these prominent figures that have been propped up, that everybody likes, they're being quickly put down and embarrassed, okay, exposed, okay? The other one I was thinking about is this guy, Eric Weinstein. Now, this guy, he is probably not as... It's probably not as easy to follow because he's in the world of theoretical physics and stuff, which I kind of like. I kind of get it. I'm just kind of curious on that a little bit, you know. But he got exposed by another Edomite called Sean Carroll, but Eric Weinstein, you know, he's a small hat, you know, and they got to be the top 1%.
In case you missed it, Eric Weinstein and Sean Carroll went on Piers Morgan to discuss Eric Weinstein's geometric unity, which is supposedly this theory of everything that combines the standard model with Einstein's theory of general relativity. Now, here's the thing you have to know about Eric Weinstein. He's like the #1 obfuscator in the entire world. You see, if you ask him what an apple is, he'll tell you that if you go to the Garden of Eden and you measure 3 areas and lengths and you have rulers and protractors and you pull back the differential geometry, and then he just confuses you for no reason. So Sean Carroll, well-known physicist, read Eric's paper and he called him out on the fact that his paper is just nothing interesting. There's nothing there. That doesn't do what it claims to do, which is unify the standard model of particle physics with general relativity. And there was a mathematician, Tim Wen, who also analyzed Eric's paper from a math point of view, and he just showed him that some of the operators he defined make no sense. They're meaningless. So I guess the word is charlatan. Maybe that's the right word. That Eric is trying to sell that he has a theory of everything, and he's going around doing podcast after podcast like he has the answer, but really he has nothing. He just knows how to obfuscate and say random things. Okay, a big bees at my window right now. But I'm glad that it finally is out in the light and Sean called him out on his BS, because, you know, I got,
you know, intellectuals in the planet. All right, fine, you got it, okay? And I didn't even realize that he's the one that walked through Terrence Howard and his theory on the Joe Rogan podcast, and it basically was very belittling and very condescending. You know how they get, you know, they're really demeaning you and shitting on you, but they're saying it in a nice way and they're being polite, you know, but really they're just talking down on you, like you don't have the capacity to understand this, nigga, you know. But you know, that's kind of how he was, you know, which I thought, you know, he was a small head, because you do have a lot of smart ones, but this guy got embarrassed as well, man. You know, he's writing papers that don't make no damn sense, you know, and they're all fighting each other, man, you know, because now, you know, even physicists and things of that nature, when they would be back in a lab somewhere doing papers and stuff, now they're all on the internet. They're all got podcasts. They're all influencers now. So now they're fighting each other.
This is why this paper is not going to appear in the peer-reviewed literature. It's not serious. It's a dog ate my homework kind of thing.
First of all, how dare you?
How
Second
dare
of all,
you?
if you're going to go by the
read your
standards of
paper?
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg. You know, they're fighting each other for that clout. See, this whole thing is going to turn sideways on you, Esau. You know, it's all going to turn sideways. It doesn't matter how smart you are, man. You're going to find out your intelligence was given to you by the Most High as a means of a weapon. Because notice, what has he done with this intelligence? He's only made weapons. All of his scientific advancements, okay, that's basically what DARPA is. It's a part of the Department of Defense, DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency or administration, one of the two. Okay, they're under the Defense Department, and that's where Esau learned this really crazy stuff, the laser weapons, all of the advanced stuff that you might see in sci-fi. It's all under lock and key under what department? The Defense Department. Okay, which 60 years ago was called the Department of War. Okay, they changed it to Department of Defense, I think in 1957 or something like that. Okay, so that's where his intelligence goes. It's into weaponry, man. That's his gift, and the scriptures say that in Revelation 6 it says, and it was given unto him a great sword. Okay, Revelation 6 and 4. There was a red horse that went out to take peace from the earth, and that's exactly what he did. He took peace from the earth with a sword, man. Okay, believe it or not, he's taking the scriptures, and he's turned that into a sword, man. What do you think the hell doctrine is? Right? The hell doctrine, that's a weapon, man. That's to make sure you get your ass back on them plantations. And, you know, you better not kill yourself. You know? So this place is being exposed on all fronts, man. Call Halal Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Because we're sick of looking at you devils, man. Thinking that you're better than people. When you're the worst, you're the basest people that have ever walked the planet Earth, man. It literally is a supernatural miracle through the Most High that you're able to get the fatness of the earth. Okay, that had to be given to you, man. And the Most High had to see through that you do it for prophecy's sake. But it's okay because we're at the end of this thing, man. We're almost at the climax, all right, where the Lord is going to upset everything, and it's going to start with this wine that you push out, these philosophies. You know, feminism is already looked at sideways now. You know, they went hard on that for about a good 5-10 years, and now they're like, oh well, I don't know about this now. You know, you know, you see every poison that comes out, it's gonna turn out to be just that, poison, man. You know, it's like that moment you poison somebody on a movie, you know, and he realizes it's poison, and he looking all crazy at the cup, like, what did I drink? You know, that's about to be America. Like, what did I drink? Yeah, you drank the cup that the Lord said you were gonna drink, man. You know, and yo, death to all of these people, man. The wicked, you're wicked, man. You got everything through robbery, rape, and murder, man. You know, now you're the goddamn intellectuals. Now you're smart and philosophical now. You know, now you know the scriptures. You know, the Lord is sick of you, and so am I, man. Anyway, with that, on to the next. Shalom.